What's up, guys and girls? Thanks for joining us today on our live recording of Block Talk Podcast here on Facebook Gaming. I'm your host, See-Through. For those of you that don't know, I am a Minecraft streamer on Facebook Gaming, currently with 7,500 followers and streaming for nearly 2 years. I started this podcast in hopes of giving my community additional content to listen to on the daily. Shortly, this podcast will be searchable on all podcast platforms like iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And actually, I think it is on Spotify already. So if you got Spotify, check it out. You can find the link to the podcast either on my Discord or my page under the podcast tab, which is currently only accessible on mobile devices, or you can tune in on my daily live streams. Yup. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome in. What's up, Sam? How you doing, dude? Today, I am going to be talking about my experience with joining the Marines. I have a feeling a lot of people will enjoy talking about this and get fairly interested. Hey, what's up, Josh? How you doing, dude? So I'm going to begin the story with my actual thought of joining the Marine Corps, like what was going through my head when I actually made the decision, because I wasn't that kid that was freshman to senior year, JROTC, hoorah Marine Corps the whole time. I literally didn't even think about it until about 2 weeks before I went and signed up. So what had happened was I was a really, really bad kid when I was younger. And more or less, I developed a scheme or scam or whatever you want to call it. And more or less what I was doing at the time was I went into Walmart and I found a giant roll of return stickers. Back then at Walmart, all you had to do to return an item was to have a sticker, put it on an item, and then take it to customer service, and either one, get your money back, or two, get the item back. Either they deny you money and you just walk out with the item. More or less, it was like a scam thing I did when I was a kid. It was awful. I ended up getting caught, and I went to court. And I can remember my dad went with me. And more or less at that time, I couldn't afford the payment. And they had told me that the Marine Corps would waive all fines and fees that I owed to the government if I was to join the Marine Corps. Well, that was kind of what started the thought process. And my buddy, a good friend of mine at the time, he was going in as well, and he said he had introduced me to a thing that was called the buddy program, which is more or less you and your buddy join the Marine Corps together, and you guys, kind of do everything together side by side throughout the whole boot camp and combat training and all that stuff. And I also was really bad into drugs back then, and I was extremely messed up one night when I told him that, he's like, man, are you going to come with me? And it was like, man, are you going to come with me, bro? And I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm coming with you. Needless to say, I was beyond messed up at the time. The following morning, he took me up to the recruiter station with him and sat down with the recruiter, and they did a bunch of check my ASVAB score and all that, which obviously wasn't very much because, like I said, when I was in high school, I was a pretty bad kid. So when we took the ASVAB in high school, all I did was go down the line and circle, it was just another test to me. I could care less about it at the time. And the recruiter told me, he said, hey, well, your ASVAB score is really low, but there is one job that you qualify for, and that's food service. And I was like, wow, that sounds easy. Heck yeah, let's do that. That sounds great. Perfect. I love cooking. So I more or less accepted that job, and I started my intro process. So from the time that I decided to join the Marine Corps within about a 2-week window, that was when I really like, or no, that was like when I left. So I decided, I did like one little Recruiter Depot like event, and then like 2 weeks later I was in Kansas City doing what's called MEPS, which is like you're like swearing in type of thing, going through some tests and stuff, and then you swear in, like hand on the Bible and all this. I solemnly swear to defend my country, blah blah blah. And it's a funny story too. I remember whenever I was there in MEPS in Kansas City, I was staying in a hotel, and my girlfriend at the time, I was calling her on the hotel phone like all the time throughout the day, and I did not realize that that they charge at that hotel every time you call somebody on the phone. And I was broke, man. I didn't have no money. I didn't have no cash, nothing. I just went up there with a little bit of food to eat, and that was about it. So I go down to the hotel. Our flight's like getting ready to leave, and I go down and go to check out, and the lady's like, that'll be $65 something, like $65 or something like that. And I was like, wait, what? I thought this was all paid for by the Marine Corps. She's like, yeah, you made a bunch of phone calls, and phone calls aren't free, so hand it over. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have any money, and I more or less talked my way out of it. You know, I'm going in the Marine Corps like this, like I didn't know, I'm sorry, there's no signs anywhere, blah blah blah. So luckily I was able to get my way out of that, because I almost missed my flight, which would have been really bad. But hi Crystal, how you doing? So once I get on the plane, you know, we make our flight to San Diego, and I get to San Diego, and I go to the USO in the airport, which a USO, if you don't know what that is like a big, like veteran type area in the airports. Veterans, armed forces, and all that can go there, and like there's like a little commissary inside where you can get some food and stuff and just kind of hang out. It's like a safe place for veterans to be in an airport. So we start seeing people funnel in from all over the world, or all over the United States, man. Like people coming in, like there's this country cowboy guy, there's this gangster guy, like all these people from all over the world. It was amazing to see all the different kinds of people that came in there. And we were sitting there for about an hour and a half. We didn't really know what was going on. We were just told to go to the USO and wait. So out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, this drill instructor just busts through a door, kicks the door, and he's like, get up, recruits, right now, get on your feet, let's go. And we're all like, oh my god, this guy's like extremely intimidating. Like if Dwayne Johnson like was wearing a drill instructor hat, was kind of what was going on. This guy was huge, dude, like absolutely massive. And he's like, I need you all to get on my bus right now. Get single file line right now. Get on my bus. Get on my bus. Get on my bus. Get on my bus. And he was like screaming and yelling. And there was like 5 or 6 of them at this point. Like he was like the one main guy. And then there was like 10 little minions running around. It was nuts. It was an insane feeling to go from like being slouched down on a chair, you know, with my phone charger plugged in, flipping through MySpace or whatever it was at the time, to all of a sudden, at the snap of a finger, this guy kicked the door in and just started like, get on the ground, like, get on my bus, blah, 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 blah. And they get you on the bus, and as soon as you get on the bus, they make you put your head down because they don't want you to see where you're going. And I've never in my life felt more kidnapped. It was pretty insane. Pretty insane. So, you know, we're on the bus for about literally an hour with our head down. We have no idea where we're at. And all of a sudden the bus stops. MySpace, the original social media. I know, right? It's pretty nuts how far it's came since then. You had like your top 10 people, and if you weren't on your friend's top 10, then it was a big deal, right? It's crazy. So yeah, so the bus pulls up, the bus stops, and another big old giant, like massive Nubian man jumps up on the bus, and he's like, get off my bus right now, get off my bus right now. And he starts like counting down. He's like 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 30. Like, this is a fully packed, full-size like school bus with nothing but a bunch of grown dudes on it. And they're like giving us 30 seconds to get off of this bus, right? It's absolutely insane. And they're like, get off the bus right now. Get on my yellow footprints. Get on the yellow footprints. And like you finally got off the bus and all you see is like all these covered in line yellow footprints everywhere. And it was just such a surreal feeling because, like I told you earlier, I was still a little messed up in the brain because one of the bigger reasons why I joined was because I was a drug addict. I was a pill popper. So to go from doing that every day, like overdoing it 3 times a day, taking so many drugs and pills and stuff, to literally this guy yelling at me. And, I'm kind of in recovery at this point. By the way, guys, the best drug recovery is the Marine Corps, if you ever was curious. But so I'm standing on these yellow footprints, and all of a sudden, they're like telling us to stand at attention and stuff. And obviously, we don't know what attention is, but there's like I said, there's all these like little minions running around. What's up, buddy? Okay, all right, give me a little bit, and then I'll get you Wally, okay? All right, so they're running up and down. There's this big guy, the commanding officer, comes out, and he's like, hi recruits, row, say hi everybody. Camera's over there, wave. All right, go over there. I'll get the Oculus ready for you in a little bit. He wants to play Wally on the Oculus. But this guy comes out. He's the commanding officer of Marine Corps Depot MCR San Diego, like the commanding officer, Colonel something. I don't remember what his name was, but tidy person. Yep, that's my son, Sam. He comes out, and there's all these people like running around still, these like drill instructor people like telling us how to stand at attention and stuff. And then like people that weren't standing at attention correctly, they would like slap their hands or straighten their back up or something crazy like that. And more or less this colonel gave us like a preach, and it was a bunch of like Bible-y stuff and things like that. And he's like, welcome to Marine Corps Depot MCRD San Diego. And we started filing in. And more or less at that point, so we're all standing on these yellow footprints, and we're all like filed in, and like nobody knows what the heck's going on, right? Because you're just not prepared for this. So we're filing in, and we get into this place that looks like a giant gym, like a basketball gym. And there's like little yellow spots on the floor where we have to go sit down. And like people start coming through and start handing things out, and we get in all kinds of gear, like this giant sea bag, which is like almost looks like a barrel. And then that was like the first item we got. And oh yeah, we also had to get rid of everything that was on us. Oh yeah, that was what happened. I remember. So it was like these cubby holes. You had to take everything off of you, anything and everything that you had, and they more or less like stash it away for you until after boot camp. Hey, what's up, Unchallenged? How you doing, man? So they give you these things that are called skivvies, and more or less it's a little tiny green shirt and some little tiny green pants. And literally, dude, like this was the part where I realized that there's no going back. So you're standing in this gym type thing, and you got your clothes on and everything, you got your hair and all this other stuff, and they're like, all right, we're gonna need y'all to get naked and put this outfit on, right? This little green shirt and these little green shorts. I kid you not, they said that, and every person in there like looked at each other like, holy crap, we have to get naked in front of all these people? What the heck? Absolutely crazy. What's up, Curtis? How you doing, dude? But so here we all are, out in the open in this gym with like 200 other dudes like getting naked, changing clothes. And directly after that, once that happened, we got back in a single file line again, and then we went to get haircuts. And that was something like straight out of a movie, dude. There's like 100 barber chairs, and everybody's just getting their big old fancy hair shaved off. I already had my hair cut short when I went in, so it wasn't a huge shock to me. But at the very end of it, man, you come out of there, and everybody's lined up again, and everybody's bald, dude. And they've never been bald in their life. Just an absolute crazy experience. So from there, we went to the mess hall and we ate, and we went to our barracks for the evening. So, in that introduction time, we got handed a huge sea bag full of gear and stuff, the exact same gear for every person. We had to pull it all out and do an inventory of it, and then put it all in our foot lockers at the end of our bed. So we get all the foot lockers filled up, and then go to sleep and wake up the next morning, and we meet our senior drill instructors and our 3 other drill instructors. So these are the drill instructors that are with us the whole time, through the whole training, specific to us. They actually live in the barracks with us and everything else. So what had happened is the senior drill instructor comes out. We're all sitting on the floor. He comes out, and big old dude, man. Another big old huge freaking guy. Huge arms, huge shoulders. Like his sleeves are so tight, like his arms are freaking red. Just absolutely most intimidating people. And then the other 3 guys weren't as big and buff, but they were super scrappy and agile. You could definitely tell like they weren't messing around. But more or less what they call him is the senior drill instructor is the guy in charge. And then they have a drill hat, which is the guy that conducts all the drill and takes you from point A to point B. You don't go anywhere unless you're marching in a platoon in boot camp, by the way. And then the other 2 guys are called kill hats. So the senior, is super chill dude. You go to him with all your questions and concerns and everything. And then there's the drill hat, which he's an absolute beast. And then the 2 kill hats are just super, super awful. And if you guys have ever seen Major Payne, or not Major Payne, Full Metal Jacket, like all the stupid stuff that the gunnery sergeant says in Full Metal Jacket, that all happens in the Marine Corps. They're like so quirky with their comebacks and their crazy just way that they talk and stuff is hilarious. So pretty much the way the Marine Corps works is if one guy screws something up, everybody takes the hit for it. And that's how they build that teamwork and camaraderie and stuff like that. And in the end, you see like how much it actually worked. But one night in the first month that we were there, I had we had a kid that couldn't keep up with us in runs and stuff like that. And more or less, the drill instructors told him, he's like, if you can't keep up with the platoon, then we're going to have to punish the platoon. And that is just I could imagine being in his shoes, like knowing what that feels like. That just sounds awful, right? So more or less what happened was we got back to the barracks and the footlockers I just told you guys about, where we had all of our gear in. The drill instructors are like, I need you to take your footlocker, and I want every one of you to dump it in the middle of the floor. By the way, everything in our footlocker is labeled with our name on it, down to toothbrushes, socks, bags, like canteens, anything and everything that you would have in boot camp. It's all labeled with names on it and everything. And they want us all to take all of our footlockers and dump them all out in the middle of the floor. This is the thing that the drill instructors called playing a game, just like, Jigsaw would in Saw or something like that. Do you want to play a game? Yeah, this is pretty much exactly how it went. And so we piled up all of this stuff in the middle of the floor, and then they gave us about 3 minutes to get all our stuff back. And I swear to this day, I had one piece from every person in that entire barracks, like in my thing, that was labeled with the wrong names and stuff. We never had a chance to fix it. Like, it was literally go, 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 go the whole time. Every day was a different type of training. This day would be climbing ropes. This day would be like a huge obstacle course. And then we had like an entire week called Swim Week, where we went and we learned how to, survive if we got stranded out in the middle of the ocean and stuff like that. crazy stuff. Learning how to float with like 50 pounds of like gear and stuff on, and a rifle, like holding your rifle up above the water so you don't get it wet. All kinds of crazy stuff like that. We did rappelling. We did zip lines. Rappelling is a crazy, scary thing if you've never done that before. That is a very intense deal. There's also like other obstacle courses called like Stairway to Heaven, which is like a 40-foot, two 40-foot poles, and like poles like in between like every 2 feet. So you had to climb all the way up over top of it and climb all the way back down the other side with no like extra support or anything like that. You just literally trying to climb over the top of this thing. It's a very, very intense deal. Not to include 3-mile run every day, and it could be in sneakers and your skivvies, or it could be in what they called boots and utes, which was our utility camouflage with like boots on and stuff. Those were rough runs, because big difference in running in boots and running in I love Led Zeppelin. What does that have to do with anything? But yeah, so that was kind of my first month in boot camp. All that stuff: swim week, obstacle courses, running, shots as well. Like we probably got like, I don't know, like 100 shots. And the way that they would do it. Oh yeah, Stairway to Heaven. Yeah, true. I did say that. So the way that they would do shots is insane. So like you're in a single file line, and you've got 2 doctors on the side of you, 2 doctors, 2 doctors, 2 doctors, and then 1 at the end. You would step forward, they'd shoot you in both arms, step forward, shoot you in both arms, step forward, shoot you in both arms. And the very last person, they'd have you turn around and bend over and give you what's called a peanut butter shot in your butt cheek. And that sucker hurt, dude. The reason they call it the peanut butter shot is because it's like literally the consistency of peanut butter. It's supposed to be, I can't even remember honestly what the heck it is like for to prevent and everything, but it was a bad experience getting all those shots. My best friend growing up is still an active Marine. I wish I was, man, to be honest. I wish I would have been able to stay in. But so in month two, we transferred from MCRD San Diego to Camp Pendleton. Camp Pendleton at the time was going through serious wildfires. Like there was fires all over everywhere. I actually ended up getting pneumonia while in the second phase of boot camp. It's 3 phases: first, second, and third. First phase was focused really hard on just breaking you in and getting your bearing and everything like that, and learning a lot of stuff. There's also a lot of classes that you go to too. And to be honest, I wasn't a big church person. I've never really been a big church person, but in the Marine Corps, like every Wednesday they go to church, or Sunday, whatever it was, and Wednesday or Sundays. I think it was Sundays actually. Oh, man, I'm freaking drinking so much water. But that would be like your sanctuary time. Like you could go there and you could literally like not be in boot camp for an hour. And it was a great place to go. But I got pneumonia in second phase. It's a lot more dusty up there in Camp Pendleton and stuff than it was in San Diego. And more or less, so the whole second phase is dedicated to what's called the Crucible. Ultimately, the Crucible is like a 3-day adventure where it starts out with you going through a gas chamber. You've got 3 meals a day loaded up in your backpack, 3 MREs a day, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's like nothing, dude. It's like cardboard food. Like if you've never had an MRE, it's kind of wild. He was kind of like us, getting into all kinds of trouble, and then one day decided he wanted to join the military. Hey, that's how most people do it, man. Listening to everybody's stories and stuff when I was in, that's pretty much kind of a mutual thing. Either running away from something or their life got messed up. Nobody just is like, I'm just going to go join the Marine Corps because I want to join the Marine Corps. Like literally nobody in my entire platoon said that. So yeah, the second month is dedicated to the Crucible. The very first thing you do is you go, Rowan is sneaking back into the stream. Yeah, he's like sitting right here on my arm. But So what the Crucible is a 3-day hike, more or less, where you have 100-pound pack on. You have your rifle, your Kevlar, your helmet. You've got the whole works, everything. MREs are pretty good depending on which one you get. Yeah, there's some good ones out there. So the first thing you do is go to the gas chamber. Now, obviously, nobody knew what the gas chamber was. Nobody's ever been gassed. They use a gas called CS gas, which is almost equivalent to like pepper spray, but a lot worse. And the way that it works is it's activated. It's initially, burn. Like I remember they made us we went in the gas chamber. They pulled the pin off the canister. It's just like a smoke grenade, like you would see like in a Call of Duty game or something. They pull the pin off the canister and they just drop it on the floor. And you start to feel like they made us take our masks off first because they want you to learn how, if you're in a gas situation and you can't get your mask out in time, obviously there's gas in the air. You put your mask on, you clear your mask, and then you can breathe. So we had no mask on. And the CS gas like hits your skin and it starts to burn and your eyes start to burn and your nose starts to run and you just can't talk, you can't breathe. Like, it's so bad. And you've got drill instructors yelling in your face like, stand up at attention, stand up. And they've got gas masks on, obviously, and they're just like sitting there yelling and screaming at you to stay still and not move and deal with it and all this other stuff. And so we put our masks on, and this one kid, like, literally, there's like 70 people in my platoon, and there's one person that literally just looks like he's dying, dude. And then he, like, insists on fighting the drill instructor in the gas chamber, and I never seen somebody get thrown on their butt so quick, dude. Like, eventually, like, he had 3 drill instructors come over there. One swooped his legs out from under him, and he was on the floor, and he just had 3 drill instructors in the gas chamber on the floor, yelling at him with knife hands in his face, like, "You're so stupid, recruit! What are you doing, you piece of crap?" I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not that guy. There was a lot of moments in boot camp where I was like, I'm glad I'm not that guy. So anyway, after the gas chamber, you still got 2 days left, and you still have like 200 miles of hiking to do. One of the events that we did during the Crucible was it was like a live fire range. What do you call that? Like a test. More or less, it's the deal where all you see, like, we walk up and there's just a huge mud river with barbed wire above the water, and you had to get on your elbows and prone crawl with your rifle, like, through the mud under the barbed wire, and it was at night, like, literally you couldn't see anything. And we're halfway through the course, and all of a sudden you hear like a mortar noise, like a whistle, and then there's machine guns they've got up on barracks shooting blank rounds back and forth. Like, it was a insane feeling. What? Yep, we'll fix it later, I promise. Let me finish up here, bud. Yep, I mean, it was insane. We didn't know that was going to happen, and all of a sudden we're like under mortar fire, crawling through this water with barbed wire above our head, just like prone crawl, and just mortar fire and machine gun saws shooting blank rounds above us. Holy cow, dude. I remember that like it was yesterday, and it just blew my mind. One thing you never do is try to take on a drill instructor. Oh, dude, they will put you down like real quick. They will put you down real quick. Get another drink of water here. But yeah, man, so the last part of the Crucible is what's called the Reaper. This is the part where you obtain your Eagle Globe and Acre, and you officially become a Marine. Now what you have to do is you have to climb this hill called the Reaper, and once you get to the very top, there's a drill instructor with a big American flag up there, like presenting everybody with their Eagle Globe and Anchor, which is actually like a thing that you put on your dress blues, on the collars of your dress blues, which I still have mine in my bedroom. Pretty insane. But so yeah, this hill, we get there, and dude, we're so exhausted. Every time you sweat, it reactivates that CS gas, and you're just burning all over the place. It's like 2 days later, and it's just awful. We're hungry, we're tired, we're sweating, and that's the mind game behind the Reaper and making you feel so accomplished when you reach the top of that hill. Just mind-blowing, dude. The hill is at least like a 55-degree angle, and it's literally like all you can see is this itty-bitty tiny drill instructor at the very top of this hill, and he's so little tiny, and you're like, oh my god, I'm never gonna make it. And they gave us the option right before we climbed the hill to get an apple or an orange, and I chose an orange, and I'm telling you guys, that orange gave me superpowers, because I was dragging people up that hill with me. It was insane, all the energy I got from eating that one orange. I'm telling you, it was absolutely nuts. I got to the top of that hill, man, and looked down, and I see people like rolling back down the hill, because it was really hard to keep traction. Because like I'm not even kidding, dude. Like the angle of the hill was like that. Like it was just straight up. Very scary. I still wear the hoodie my brother got when he was in the Navy. Oh, that's awesome, man. So yeah, you get to the top of the hill, and it's not over, right? You still have to hike back to the barracks and stuff, like another 100 miles or something. It was insane. But that's pretty much second phase. So third phase, once you get to third phase, you're focusing on shooting. You know, you get your marksman badges and stuff like that. You're focusing on shooting, and you're also focusing on drill. More or less, drill is just just another thing to build your what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Like the way you carry yourself and stuff like that, and just how Marines are and stuff. It's all built in mind games that eventually change you as a person. And as you guys seen in the picture in the beginning, that's me and my dad with probably one of the best smiles on his face that I've ever seen. Super proud of me, joining the Marine Corps and completing it. This was our graduation after boot camp. And yeah, what a crazy feeling. Your character, your stature, yeah, you got it. That's the words I'm thinking of. But yeah, man, after that, I went home on leave, and we were supposed to get 2 weeks of leave. It was during Christmas time, so we were going to be home for Christmas, me and my buddy. And he ended up screwing something up. I think he tried to roofie a chick or something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened, but me and him both got sent back to San Diego early on leave, and we weren't able to be home for Christmas, and that was just awful. That sucked so bad. So we get back to San Diego. Boot camp's over, but now we go on to combat training. There's 6 weeks of combat training. More or less in combat training is a lot more chill than boot camp was. There's no drill instructors, there's combat instructors. So these guys are a lot more chill. They're like corporals and sergeants rather than staff sergeants and gunnery sergeants. So a lot less food chain there. You got a lot of freedom. Like on the weekends, you can go out and do things. But during the week, during grind time, we had mega hikes, but we got to do some cool stuff, man. We got to go to a firing range. I got to shoot a M203 grenade launcher off the bottom of an M16. I got to shoot M16s. I got to shoot saws. I got to shoot 50 caliber machine gun, 50 caliber sniper rifle, Glock and Springfield pistols. Just about anything, man. And one of the guys that got top shooter, he got to shoot an RPG at a Hummer, and that was freaking awesome. If you've never seen a rocket propelled grenade in real life, that is crazy. Talk about scary, man. I also got to do cool stuff like throw grenades. You throw grenades in games all the time, but you don't actually think of doing it in real life. And then until you do, you got this grenade in your hand and you pull the pin. And there's just that odd feeling of, holy crap, this thing could blow my freaking hand off. You throw it so hard and it weighs 10 pounds, dude. Grenades are heavy. And I throw this thing and it just doesn't seem like it goes very far at all. and then you duck behind the wall and explodes, and you're just like, oh my god, that's insane. I've been able to try and do a lot with the Boy Scouts, like as an instructor or something like that. We also got to do stuff that like almost like treasure hunts, where they would give us like a map and a compass and coordinates, like specific longitude, latitude coordinates for like treasures hidden out in the woods and stuff. We had to go find. That was pretty fun. And then we did live fire training. They have like an Arabic town like built up where you have to go and like clear rooms and bust down walls and stuff, and it's just absolutely insane experience, man. Combat training was so freaking crazy. I'm ending every Apex game with at least a kill. What does that have to do with my podcast right now? Waffle grenades taste yummy, especially after you pull the pin. Waffle grenades? What the heck? So yeah, combat training. It was a nuts thing, man. It was insane, getting to shoot all kinds of guns, like run through all kinds of simulations with a little bit more freedom. I got done with that, and from there, that was about 6 weeks. From there, I went to Culinary School because I was in food service. I was a chef in the Marine Corps. We went to Culinary School in Virginia. Fort Lee, Virginia, and that escalated a little bit from the seriousness to a little more chillax stuff. The grenades with the waffle pattern on them. You call them waffle grenades? That's funny. Yeah, the one that I threw was the actual circle, like just the perfect circle one with the pin on the top. I've never held a grenade before, so that was absolutely an insane experience. But yeah, pretty much from there I went to cook school, and nothing really exciting there. We just studied culinary arts, and then from there I got shipped off to Okinawa, Japan. Where's the damn sauce? That's funny. Yep, I got my orders. They actually gave us an option. You want to go East Coast, you want to go West Coast, or do you want to go to Japan? And I was like, you know what? I'm never again in my life going to get an opportunity to go to Japan. So I went for it, man. And I tell you, after the 18-hour plane flight over there, and you know, at this point you're alone. You're not with any other Marines. You're literally like kind of on your own, doing your own thing. I got to the airport in Okinawa and had to go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom, and literally in Japan, they don't have stalls. They don't have toilets. All they have is like a toilet seat on the floor and 2 bar rails on each side. And this is in an airport, dude. So you're telling me that I have to just stand up and grab onto these bars on the sides of me and just like let my poop fall like 3 feet down and splash in the water? Like, what are you talking about? Completely crazy experience, man. Culture shock big time. You don't know where you're at. Everything on the walls is all in Japanese. There's nothing in English. There's like crazy holographic display signs like all over the place, neon lights everywhere. Just an absolutely crazy experience. But I did have a lot of fun in Japan. But we'll save that for another time, because we're already at 39 minutes for this podcast. So I will be uploading this to Spotify and everything else. If you missed any of it, you can go back and listen to it, or you can go back and watch the stream, whatever you would prefer. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my experience in the Marine Corps, and especially if you're younger, still in high school, maybe it's something you can consider. I would do it over again 100 times if I had the ability. I really would. It sucked during it, but I would literally do it over and over and over again if I had the ability. Absolutely. Actually, super awesome, man. I enjoyed it. Hey, that's awesome, Dave. I'm glad you did, dude. I'm glad you did. Yeah, man. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be live again at 8 o'clock tonight. Normal time, 8 to 11, with some Minecraft. Yeah, we'll see you then. Have a great day. Take it easy, y'all. Bye.